What's up, everybody? I'm back with another movie review, and today I am reviewing Thor. Yep, the first Thor movie, another one in the MCU, was released back in 2011, and I remember a lot of the hype around this movie. I remember seeing a lot of the trailers with the lightning and the hammer, and I thought that was so cool. But I didn't get a chance to actually watch it until now. Well, not now when this is going up, but when I'm recording it, I just watched it for the first time. Um, so I got some thoughts on it. Let's jump right into it, shall we? Um, this movie is like the first Thor movie, and it's the first time we see him in introduction to the MCU. Well, okay, it's not actually an introduction to the MCU. Thor's a little bit different because of the fact that he really doesn't he doesn't really get a connection to the MCU, at least early on, at least in this movie. With Iron Man, we saw him get approached by Nick Fury in the end credit scenes. We get him approached by Nick Fury to join the MCU. In this movie, we don't, and it's a little bit, so that's weird, but like we know he's eventually gonna be there. So this is kind of like his origin story. The true origins of him though are not as really touched on in this movie as they are with like Iron Man and some of the other ones. It's a lot quicker. It's focused more on him learning his powers and developing his powers, and also coming with himself, like working on like inside stuff instead of him developing his powers and learning and like developing a hammer like with Iron Man. It's a lot quicker, straight to the point. Like, okay, he was a kid, now he's an adult. This is what happened. Let's further this a little bit more. So that, and it works. Like there's plenty to do here, and that's mostly because Thor is not just a regular guy that became like a like just went through some event that made him become who he is now. It's mostly it's because he's an intergalactic, like different dimension guy who already has these powers and now has to learn to harness them and work with them in combat and stuff like that, and can travel through dimensions and other realms and worlds and whatnot. So he's different than a lot of the other MCU characters that we know up until this point, in that regard, which is cool. But Thor interacting with the real world is hilarious. That was probably some of the best parts of the movie. Him walking through the street and just like halting the cars and talking to people, even though he is kind of a jackass early in the movie with talking to like the people and whatnot. It's pretty funny though, and him in the hospital and being all that kind of stuff. It's pretty funny, but it's some of my favorite parts of the movie. And yet again, like I said with the Iron Man movies, there is a jab on the government again. Much more so this time around, because when they steal all those guys' research, and then the one agent says to the girl, "We are the good guys." Like, we know you aren't fucking the good guys. Like, his name is who's it? Coulson, the Agent Coulson. You see him in Iron Man 2. He's back in this movie. He's much more of an asshole in this movie. It's crazy how bad he is. He is awful in this movie. Much less likable. Mainly because of that, because he's like leading this charge, and eventually they do like connect, like they come together to defeat the higher powers that are here. But they're kind of dicks early on in the movie, and stuff like that. But I mean, otherwise, like the theatrics of this movie are really good. I like seeing the powers and how the hammer impacts. The hammer's pretty cool, and it's kind of funny watching the people interact with the hammer, trying to pull it out of the ground, and like they set up barbecues and they're just having a fun time. Then it turns into a research lab, and we get the mud fight and everything, and then the whole thing with Loki as well is really important, because he can travel through like he can shapeshift and like teleport, and like have two of him at the same time, watching him fight and whatnot. His powers are pretty well established, and he's pretty good enemy. He's a really good enemy in my opinion, and that mostly has to go to the actor who played him. The actor who played him, in my opinion, gives off, now not much as in this movie, but in future movies, he gives off very much a Pennywise-esque vibe to him. And that's because he can really play the part well and really encapsulate the fear of Loki. I don't think Loki is a really good name for him, though. I get there's a major reason why they call him Loki. Like, I get that, but like, say low key over there, like low key, not Loki, or Loki. It's LOWKEY. Like that's that's a term that a lot of people use. I don't know how much it was used in 2011, but it's definitely used a lot now. So it's kind of weird to get confused. I mean, you can know. I mean, it's not like you're standing there. What the hell is going on here? Like, you get what you're going for, but it's just funny in my opinion. That stuff. But he's got really good power with the time traveling, shape shifting thing and whatnot, and opening the portals and stuff like that. It was kind of a plot twist in my opinion that he was like half whatever thing with Thor, and then half with the Frozen guys, and we get the whole fights with the Frozen guys and whatnot as well. So that's pretty cool. I think the whole establishment with the dad, it was pretty weird. The dad just gets freaking yelled at by Loki, and his response to getting yelled at for lying about Loki being adopted is just him fucking dying. Or at least he didn't die, but it looked like he was gonna die. He didn't die though yet. I know he is. I thought he was honestly going to die. He just seemed like the aura he was giving off the character. I really thought he was gonna die. He didn't. So it's kind of weird in my opinion, but overall, I mean, there's just a lot of big things about this movie. It was really set up for a sequel as well, I thought, because we know that, like, Loki's a pretty universal enemy from this point forward, and the guy that they like actually go and fight, like that Death Destroyer thing that Loki sends to Earth to kill Thor, I think we know that he's not a major enemy because he doesn't get a lot of establishment. So we know that something's going to change with that going forward. But I think they did it really well. I think it was good. So I really like this movie, honestly. My final score for Thor, I'll probably have to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. That might be a little too high in some people's books, but personally, I really enjoyed it. So that's going to do it for this movie review. If you've seen Thor, I'd like to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And stay tuned. Again, this is going to do it for this video. Stay tuned for other much more amazing content, including more movie reviews and other awesome stuff. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.